I'm going to test the sound really quick here. Always got to test the sound. Make sure you can hear me. Make sure the stream is going. Had to get all the cards ready. Let me hit there goes the notification. And if you are here, here we go. Here we go. Hi, Karen. Here we go. Whoa, we got they're making big loud noises. One moment. Be right back. There still might be some noises. That's okay. Hello, everyone. How is everyone today? Drop a hello in the chat. How are we doing? What a week. What a week. What a week, right? Anyone else have an exciting week, a crazy week? I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Whew, I think this is the first time I've been able to actually sit down and relax today. Hello. So Karen's here. Hello, Karen. Jason. Hello. Jason treated me to something, y'all. If I can not knock everything else down. Got some lovely flowers, but they don't really fit in the live stream very well. So thank you, babe. I wanted to show the flowers. Appreciate that. I kind of had a rough one yesterday. You're getting an echo, long delay, and an echo. Is everybody having that problem? There might have been an echo for a minute while I was testing the sound, but hopefully it's gone away. Jason said he refreshed and there's no echo. Try to refresh the stream if you're getting an echo. It might have been because I always have to test my sound. So y'all know this morning I didn't go live at my normal 10 a.m. time because I had a pipe. We had a pipe that was leaking in the basement and coming through the ceiling. That's fun stuff, right? And so the plumber was here this morning. Now, I'm very grateful for my plumber. This is a local person, not a corporation, very fortunate, reasonably priced, fix the problem with as minimal of impact to the ceiling as possible. So I'm very, very grateful for him and that he got it done this morning. But normally I'm here earlier. Zohaib Ahmed, hello. I am doing well. Jonathan, hello. Sometimes I remember my dreams. Sometimes, not always. All right. So welcome. I've already got Blaze in the other room because he was way too hyper. We have kind of this day where it's a bit, it was going to rain. Now it's not going to rain. Is it hot? Is it cold? It can't make up its mind today. And so I was going to try to be outside, but it just wasn't working out for me that way. So I was not able to do that. So, and today I know I have a couple of you ladies here from my creators community, Ashley, Kimberly, Karen. Would any of you like to come live and test the co-stream feature with me while we pull the collective reading cards? If you would like to, just drop me a note there. This is for the ladies. I've already had 2 gentlemen on already. So I want a creator lady on. And if you don't want to, that's okay. Karen says hello and she can. Okay, Karen, I'm going to get you a link here. Let me get you a link. Copy link. Actually, I think I can send it to you in Facebook Messenger. Let me try. Okay, I'm back. I sent Karen the link. I sent it to you in Facebook Messenger. Let me know if you got it. I think all you have to do is go in there and click on it. Hello, Casey. Go in and click on it, and then it'll add. It'll put add for me, and then I can bring you on. I can bring you on. I know. Bravery. Somebody showing up to co-stream. So I am testing the co-stream feature, the co-stream live feature for YouTube. It's on mobile lives, and it's a fun time. It's a fun time. So Karen will let me know if she's having any issues. I can also try to send it to you on Instagram if that's better for you, Karen. So just drop a note in the chat if you need me to send the link another way, but sometimes it might take a minute there. And yeah, and then we'll get going. While I'm waiting on Karen, just a real quick astrology update here that I wanted to mention. We've got the moon in Cancer today. That's a pretty happy position for the moon. It likes to be in Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, so the energy there is a little bit of a reprieve. We just had that new moon in Taurus on April 27th last week. And then we have Venus, which is no longer in retrograde, but it is in a post retrograde shadow through May 16th. And that can be a little bit of a, it's still feeling a little with Venus there. Okay. Mars is in a post retrograde shadow that ends today. So some of you may be waiting for that something that will get you going again. That's that Mars and Leo energy. That's that fire energy that comes in. I haven't quite felt it to the degree I want to feel it yet, but I think it's building up and up and up. So hopefully it will get better. I'm going to try to send this to Karen and Instagram. I think I lost Karen. How to. Here we go. All right. I think I did it. So Karen, if you're on and you can hear me, I sent you the link to join the live. It's a special link that I have to send directly to you. I sent it in Instagram and Facebook Messenger, and you can click on that. And I think you might have to go out of the live, click on that link. It'll bring you back in, and then it'll show me where I can add you. It'll like pop up a little button. So if you're clicking the link but it's not working, just drop me a message and let me know. Mars is in Leo until June 16th. That helps us out a little bit. So some of this energy you're going to start feeling the momentum. So hopefully everybody is hanging in there and sticking in there. So how's it been for y'all? Are you waiting for a breakthrough? Are you feeling pretty good? Are you feeling rested, energetic? Let me see, Karen. You clicked the link, and did it bring you back here? Let me try it a different way. Because it's not showing me you joining. It brought you back here, but it's not showing me a button where I can add you. Usually it says, Karen, click the link. Can I add? Let me try it again. Let me try with a different. I might have sent you the wrong link. It's possible. It's very possible. Let me try a different way here. Different link for you, Karen, in Facebook Messenger. The second message I sent you. See if you can click on that one. Whew. So I've had I had the leaky pipe. I had a little infected spot right here. You guys can see it right now. It's just working on healing and being cleaned out. I smashed my toes into a concrete base for a light post the other day. That was fun. Lots of good times. There. So I am here. I know I kind of glitched out there for a minute. But Karen, I sent you a second link in Facebook Messenger. I think the first link I must have sent was just for the live share. It wasn't really for adding you on. So there's a second message for you in Facebook Messenger. So Karen, let me know if you're still here and you're able to check the second message. How about now? It's not popping up. It might be an error for YouTube there, because that time I know that was the right link. Because this is an invite link. Sometimes I know people have had trouble on their iPhones. If you're using an iPhone, I'm going to try it in Instagram too. Oh. All right. We're trying. She's going to try one more time. If it doesn't work, it's going to be feedback that I give them, because I did schedule this live yesterday. This is the first time I've scheduled a mobile live more in advance than I have. And I have noticed with YouTube, even though it's wonderful to schedule your lives in advance and then all you have to do is sit down and come in when you get here, I have noticed that sometimes that causes issues. In the past, it's caused issue with audio. And this time it seems like Karen's not able to, she's clicking the link, but it's not sending me the message that, oh, wait, hold on. As I'm saying that, woo, yay. Hi. Yes, finally. Okay. Yeah, I think first I was just sending you the regular live share.
Yes.
And then I was sending you the other one, but I don't know. Like,
Did try it twice because it was like upload the YouTube app. I'm like, I already have the app. Why is it doing this?
yeah.
But we're here.
We're here. Welcome. Welcome. How are you today? Good. What's new?
This shirt, I just went to Old Navy, so I was like, oh, I got a cute shirt.
Get a cute shirt. That's what's new. That's awesome. I have a new pipe downstairs in my ceiling of my basement.
And no more water on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, and this house was built, it has some copper piping, and the plumber's like, "Well, that's supposed to last forever." He's like, "It's very unusual that it's leaking." And it's like the hot water pipe, but who knows? Who knows? Nowadays they use, I guess, the PEC or special kind of plastic, but it's always something. I'm grateful to have a home, and that's kind of making me feel good right now, and grateful to have a plumber that I trust, because it's hard to find good people who do good work for a reasonable price. So,
Like, and show up.
yeah. So it is very interesting. I'm reminded too, like as I talk about that, like one of the things you had messaged me about was the quality of customer service interactions, and in at least in the United States where we are, and how they've kind of gone downhill and everything like that. So yeah, it's very interesting what's happening and not happening, as far as just being able to interact with people in person and have good interactions, have quality interactions. So yeah. So a couple frequency Fridays ago, we kind of touched on that. I didn't go super duper 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 deep into it, but we touched on it a little bit, and it was really interesting to kind of see what that was all about. Okay, I'm going to make another timestamp here, because we're going to get into the collective reading. And if you're okay just hanging on, and maybe as I pull the cards, I'll kind of give my take, and then you can share anything you see additional in these cards. So for the collective reading, before we do any kind of breakouts, I like to use the oracle cards, because it leaves things a bit more open. So we're kind of looking at the overall picture of the collective energies that we all might be dealing with right now. And then in the breakout readings, we'll get into like specific kind of energies, which by that time I'll let you off the hook, Karen. But we're going to start off today with, this is the impasse oracle. And we're just going to ask for, I'm just doing a little clearing here, and we're going to ask for what we need to know about the current energies, about our paths moving forward as Mars finishes this retrograde shadow. I do feel a lot of anticipation, and I feel a lot of people wanting to move and having had a really hard time moving, whether that be physically moving, exercise moving, emotionally processing, whatever it may be for different people. And so we got number 11. Yeah,
Lucky number.
we got 11, and we got cleansing mind, body, and spirit. And this is what the card looks like. It's very abstract, quite involved. And from what I think you can see, there is like a pro with different color splashes.
Reminds me of the body's chakras on the body, but on the face.
Yeah, it almost looks like there's different activity going on in different areas of the head and face. And it kind of looks like there's adornments on, like a little, I can see like a little headband maybe in here, but then there's that is like covered and blended with other energies, which is very interesting. So my inclination with this card is just a reminder to everyone about, our first law of alchemy, that the all is the mind, and the mental arena is what is being manipulated, or, with intention. There's intention for manipulation. And this card would help me remember to really do some work to clear out my mind from the distractions that might be going on around me. And that includes not only like the people that are around us, but the collective energies that might affect us, because this is an empath deck. So we're assuming probably most of you that come live have a sensitivity level that is pretty high. And so it can be really easy to pick up these interferences, not even wanting to. So, Karen, what do you feel about that?
Um, so we're talking about moving, and it reminds me being the cleansing and clearing the mind, whatever. There's a song by David Pack and Annie Wilson, um, Heart and Ambrosia together, called "The Secret of Moving On is Traveling Light," and it's all about letting go of some of the burdens and forgiveness before trying to make a move. And so if maybe it's a call to start doing some forgiveness work at this time before trying to get anywhere else. The decluttering you have to do before. I always say, what is it? Move for the house you want to be in, or pack for the house you want to move into, or whatever. So maybe it's time to do some mental declutter first, though, is what it's saying to me. Like,
Around it and then bring everything else along. But I know this, there is so much busyness here. I know for me, we're in a position where we need to have a mega big garage sale and clear out a lot of items. And so right now everything is in flux in the house, and there's a lot of stuff, but there's no place to put it. And I kind of feel like that with my own energy sometimes. Like there's so many things coming in that it all gets kind of cluttered, and it takes me a minute to file it or categorize it or clear it or forgive it or whatever it is. So That's a really good card, and I'm interested to hear from the rest of you in the comments. Are you dealing with this? Are you working with this in one of those ways? Maybe mentally, maybe you're working on moving things in your body, moving your body somehow, or digestively doing something important. Or maybe you just feel like there's so much going on that I can't even pick the starting point. And I think these retrogrades have kind of had that effect as well of like, how do I get going with this? Where do I dig in? Where do I, set my foot to like run this race? And it's kind of tricky there. Okay.
Things I did because I want to move is I got found an app for house cleaning and organizing, and so that it kind of planning the move first before doing the physical stuff. What am I going to have to do, what projects, and organizing the projects and stuff for the move.
You just input what you've got going on into the app, and then it kind of does it give ideas and like,
Do a time frame, so you how when do you need to have this done by, and it kind of helps organize time for you so that you're not. The worst thing about moving is waiting till the last minute and then having to do everything at once.
totally, yeah, very much so. And I really like that. What's the name of the app? Do you mind sharing?
It's really just a house cleaning app called instead of to do, it's 2D Tody TODY is what I use, and you can just put whatever projects you want in it in the free version, and then give an estimate of like when you want to do it by, and then it just helps it so it's like, okay, I have a checklist and I can work on a few things, for the next few months, keeping everything super clean so that when we move out, I don't have to do a bunch of cleaning afterwards and I get my deposit back.
Yeah, and it kind of maybe takes some of this and helps take it out of here and put it in front of you so you can actually
For
see.
sure. Yeah, get it out of your head and onto the paper or whatever. So journaling can help too.
For sure. Kimberly says, definitely know that it's time to move through stagnant energy in my body. Yeah. And sometimes, it's like magic when we do this, when we start the movement in some way, shape, or form. That's when we start seeing something change in the external world or something lining up or working out for us. Or maybe not, in the sense that we can also teach ourselves what directions not to go down or what paths not to go down. And there's also a book I'll recommend. I really like that Toady app. That sounds cool. There's also a really good book called The Swedish Art of Death Clearing. And it really is a book. And some of you may be, I know I'm at this age, but some of you may not be yet. But when you kind of get into your 50s and up, that's when they practice beginning to clear out. And there's a lot of gifting things to other people. There's a lot of time spent making sure that the important heirlooms in the family, that the children know who's getting what, yeah, like how it should be, because the death process, when you're gone, it's so stressful. That's often the time when they're in the grief and stress that people have to determine what to do. So as an individual, that wants to leave less stress for friends, family, whomever you're connected to, it definitely is helpful um to help lessen the urgency of some of that stress when the time comes. So I think that's the general idea behind the book. Can't remember the author at the moment. I'll have to.
Of that, and I probably should read it. I've just seen a lot of uh, deaths recently where there wasn't that where the family didn't have a good plan, and it created a lot of chaos. I'm gonna
I
I'm gonna grab my charger really quick
Yeah,
while you
sure.
pull the next cod.
And it said the volume was cutting out for me. Let me
I need head.
make an adjustment. And sometimes if that's happening, if I get more than one comment like that, it's probably on my end, but you can also go out and back in. Sometimes when you refresh YouTube, that helps, but it could have been cutting out too. It could have very well be my internet or Wi-Fi or my hotspot or something. So the book is called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. I might have said clearing, but it's cleaning, and it's how to free yourself and your family. Hold on, there's more. From a lifetime of clutter. And yeah, the book also could be a helpful tool. All right, it was cutting out for you too, Ashley. Is it still cutting out? Let me know if my voice is still cutting.
It's funny because I'm hearing you clear. Like I'm not having.
That's really good feedback though, y'all, because I can put that in the co-stream that, one of the co-streamers was, and I just heard myself echo. So something's going on. You sound good to me, Karen, though. I can hear you.
Clear to me too, so I don't hear the echo. I don't.
Okay, I'm gonna keep rolling with it, and let me present the next card that I pulled. This one's from the Sacred Geometry of Activations Oracle, and it's called Remembrance. It's number 38. The frequency of remembrance supports our memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul in body, providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this life. And look at this really pretty picture here.
8 is 11 again. We got 11.
So some 1111 vibes. Yay.
But we have remembrance. I'm really thinking forgiveness is like, okay.
Mm-hmm. And we have the presence of this lifetime to deal with, but remembrance really in our soul. And so it sometimes can be hard for us to give ourself grace for understanding what we've been through as a soul on bigger cycles than just this one lifetime, at least what I believe to be true and what my intuition tells me is this. And so the remembrance, that's why sometimes we're triggered by things or activated by things and we don't know why. But that's also why sometimes we just know how to figure things out sometimes. So what are your thoughts on that, Karen?
I think I think it might be a good time to reframe the past, like to look at the past and think of a different way to look at it. That might be helpful going forward. I don't know. That's just coming to mind.
I really like that because it's remembrance. So reframing. I really like that connection. I'm really enjoying the image here. It kind of has this indigenous, almost like maybe even South American, Central American looking kind of pattern there. Again, rather abstract, but all very cool. And Jason says, I think when one person talks, it freezes the other, or maybe somehow it mutes the other. And that, yeah, I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work, but I can give that feedback. So thank you. Yeah, it could very well be that. So what I'm going to try to do when Karen's talking is I'm going to be really quiet and then we'll try vice versa. Key Good is here. Hello, Key Good. Key Good Virgo. You got the Virgo sign there. Hello. Beautiful Virgo energy joining up. All right. So the next card I'll pull is from the Rose Oracle. So let's see what we need to know here. Ooh, these cards are kind of chattery here. Let's see what comes up. Welcome, Key Good. Glad to have you here. So we got, this one does not have a number on it, but we got the Rose Garden, and it says innocence, forgiveness, and be gentle with yourself.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Peaceful. So there's that forgiveness that I think we've kind of touched on. Remembrance is going to bring things up, and as things come to the point that they're ready to be released, they come to the surface. And it can be a little overwhelming sometimes. So I really like this reminder of being gentle, giving yourself grace, and a lot of us, especially who have come into the community and shared, we've been dealing with this weird relationship with time lately. And so, reframing how we think about time and how we move through these energies, giving ourselves time, but also making sure we keep momentum and doing it in a more maybe gentle way so we don't get so overwhelmed.
Thinking it's probably time for a like heart chakra or heart chakra opening meditation or something peaceful, gentle, relaxing, or maybe taking a bath with some rose oil or something might be nice. Rose geranium is one of my favorites. Yeah.
I really love geranium oil, rose water. Some you can even cook with rose water in some recipes. And that might be a really nice way to kind of soothe yourself as you're going through some of these things. Because as beautiful as these cards are and as wonderful as it is with us being able to reframe things, there's also the messiness of going through the evolution and releasing the stuff that doesn't fit anymore. It can get messy, and that's okay. We don't want to add any more pressure to ourselves or beat ourselves up any more than we already do, or that adds more stress to the process itself. So that's a nice reminder from the Rose Oracle. It's a really, really cool deck. Let me show you guys this box too. I love the box. I mean, sometimes I drop it by accident, like if you grab it by the top, but it's just got this really cool graphic looking, geometric box shape that's really, really super neat to look at. And the deck itself just has a real gentle vibration to it. It's by, who did it say? Rebecca Campbell. All right. We're going to go to the Divine Animal Oracle next. We're going to do a couple more cards. I got to clear messages too, because I think when messages come in, I have my notifications off for most things, but sometimes it mutes too when, like, if a notification pops in for me.
Myself when you're talking to see if that helps
Oh,
at all. So we'll
oh,
see.
no one said anything again, so we might be okay. Oh, we got number 31 this time. So now we have a number 4, or you can use the numbers 3 and 1, and it's cycles and it's hair or the little bunnies.
Hair, play on hair.
Lots of hair. So when I get this card, because I'm familiar with pulling this before, the bunny rabbits do remind me of the productivity because they're a very productive animal, very reproductive. They can multiply rather quickly and take up a lot of space. And so there is that there. And I like that sign because I feel like most of us are yearning for that forward momentum that we're looking for. We're looking to be productive, which I really like. At the same time, we have this beautiful redheaded woman with extra long hair that probably took years to grow. Anytime I see the red hair, I always kind of think of Atlantean energy too, and possible cycles to do with the Atlanteans. I don't know why. That always gives me that vibe. But to me, that feels like a reminder that sometimes there's going to be these phases that we go through that happen really fast, like the reproductive cycle of a bunny rabbit or a hare. And then there's going to be phases of the cycle that take longer, like how long it takes to grow hair over the years, right? And take care of the hair. And so, really interesting that we got that. What do you think, Karen?
I'm seeing like prosperity and abundance all over the place. And I think it seems like what you're saying, it's prosperity maybe in the short term and in the long term. Um, the quick turnaround of prosperity along with the long creation of, maybe residual incomes or something, but that golden hair, it's opulence, so there's just so much that bountiful. She looks, you know, she's got it all. She's got it all. The short hair and the long hair.
Absolutely. Now I can tell. I'm gonna refresh my stream over here. I can tell on my other stream that my camera was frozen. So if I freeze sometimes, you might have to refresh. But I loved what you said about the opulence, and let's make sure we remain open to both the short and the long-term prosperity that could be coming in. Michael's here. Hello, Michael. Thanks for joining. Hello, hello. We're in the middle of just pulling some collective cards from the different oracle decks that I chose today. So we've got one more here, messages from your animal spirit guides. But
What an opulent name.
I know, right?
And then we had the rose card box has that diamond shape on it too.
You came in at your calling card, Michael. And that is his real name. That's his legal name. Yep. Truly. I love it. And he has great hair too. And he's a Leo. Sorry, I'm saying I'm sharing all this about you, Michael. But yes, he has great hair. And it's kind of hair I wish I had.
Last card had that Leo energy to it too.
Yeah, it really did, like the big mane. And I'm wondering if that's kind of that Mars and Leo energy. And we're kind of at that final point of like allowing the abundance energies to come to us, and then we can take our action to kind of meet that energy. I love it. And one of the little bunnies too, they're like all by her feet except one's on her head, up by the mind. So that would kind of indicate maybe representing, yes, you have a very productive mind right now as you're kind of in this pattern of waiting and kind of waiting for that breakthrough or that movement. Yep, I think it's coming for us. We also got honeybee, another very productive animal. Let compassion, and here it is again, forgiveness, be your top priority in this situation. So some of you may actually have a situation that has come to mind as we're talking. And when you hear forgiveness, for some of us, it might be self forgiveness, but for others, there might be someone that's just grinding your gears, and it can be hard when you're, especially if you're setting boundaries and attempting to have healthy communications. It can be hard to hold also the energy of compassion and forgiveness from that higher aspect, because we're dealing with a very human experience. That's what I'm kind of getting here. It's acknowledging the challenge in your communications with a person or in a situation, and how can you somehow do that in a way that's healthy and is the proper boundaries for you, but also kind of have this stole of like compassion and forgiveness. And that's hard work. That's really hard work.
Beautiful. And then I love all the blue on there too. That's really like that water energy.
Mhm.
And then the honeybee is also about staying sweet, things and I felt like that with the bunny on the head. It was kind of like a lightness and a whimsicalness. It kind of brings a lightness to it because that long hair is kind of like heavy, but it's like this isn't a weighing you down kind of opulence. It's a slight, and then with the bee, it's the sweetness, and to think about, staying keeping, enjoying those little sweets and treats as you're doing all the things that you're doing. So it just doesn't get too heavy and carried away with you, all the activity.
Be having somewhat of different solutions to the problems or the challenges that we're encountering. So, very interesting. All right, that's it for the collective reading. Karen, thank you so much for joining and being willing to come on and test this feature with me. I so enjoyed your thoughts and what you saw in the cards as well. It's always great. And, the audience, the rest of the audience listening as well, you guys may have seen your own things. And I always encourage people to trust your own intuition because there's different aspects of these messages that we need to receive. So, Karen, you should have a place where you can leave, but if you can't, I think I can remove. So
Let
thank
me
you
see if
so
I
much.
can find it. Thank you. This
All
was
right. Yes.
all
Have
right.
an
Let's see
amazing
if you
weekend.
can just knock me out, then I'm good.
Okay. And it may kick you out of YouTube altogether. You may have to come back in.
I found the leave.
Okay. There you go. Bye. Thank you. Yay. That was so awesome. I love it. I love it when the co-stream feature finally works out. All right. So, how are we feeling after that? That was beautiful, but also, loaded and packed with recommendations of forgiveness, of being able to clear, of reframing, of the productivity coming in, but how are we going to allow it to come in? And maybe just finding the things that work for us, finding the ways, whether it's the helpful app or reading the book or taking the step or drinking the water. Speaking of, I'm going to grab some tea here. I've got a green tea today. Gearing up for May the 4th be with you there with little Grogu. Yeah, it's a pineapple passion green tea. And it literally is the green tea leaves with dried pineapple in there. So it's not like a artificial flavor green tea, but that dried pineapple gets in there and it really helps kind of sweeten that green tea, more bitter taste a little bit. So, okay, I'm going to kind of prepare the other decks here and we'll get into some more good stuff here. Timestamp time. 4343. All right. I'm going to describe a little bit about the breakout readings. So, I'm going to do 4 mini breakout readings today, and we're going to be talking about energy. Now, I know on my channel I talk about energy all the time. I'm reading energy, but I thought it might be fun to kind of incorporate a bit more of a scientific angle into things because I do have a background in science, and I think that part of our evolution is bridging the gap between the science and research and the quantum fields and how our brain works and how we sense energy. In fact, I just heard something really interesting the other day, and I know people have certain feelings about this. But that, like, when it comes to body hair, for example, we have a culture where, men will shave their face, women will shave, or not. I mean, some do, some don't. We listen and we do not judge. And that, each of the hairs on your body, they are little antenna, And so I was listening to just a little brief excerpt from a podcast. And it was very interesting because the woman was talking about why she doesn't shave. It's so that she can feel more aliveness around her from the hair on her body. So I thought that was really interesting, fascinating. But, to each their own. Everybody gets to do what they want with their body. It's your choice for that. So, but it was just very interesting. I was thinking about that. And that each, like, every place you have the hair, you have a follicle connected to the hair. So even if you think about, something gives you the tingles and you get the goosebumps and everything, there's like a recognition there. So, we're going to kind of get into it, scientifically speaking. But then, of course, my readings are very intuitive. So we're going to go into what I'm hearing in the collective of your greater beings, those of you that are tuning in, and tuning in live and on the replay. So we're going to go into 4 different types of energy. And this by no means is all of the different energies, but they are important ones. And I think it'll be really interesting to see what the cards tell us. Maybe we'll get some practical advice and information, as well as getting more of that soul level spiritual kind of reassurance, right? So I kind of have both intentions going in with these breakout readings today. We're going to go into potential energy. Potential energy is the energy of an object's position. So if you imagine taking a ball and tossing a ball into the air, the highest point that that ball reaches is the potential energy that it has in that arc. And I was just seeing the other day, like, someone practicing throwing a boomerang, which made me think too, that can be an example of like the potential energy when you throw a boomerang and it reaches the point of the arc and then comes back on that horizontal arc to you. Very interesting. So we're going to go into the potential energy because I think a lot of times we lose track of where we are on the arc of our momentum. And so it'd be really interesting to see what the potential energy has to say. And then we'll dive into kinetic energy. This is where the motion starts happening. It's the energy of a body's motion. So if you imagine, and it's the motion from 0 to whatever number, okay? And it's like swinging on a swing. It's like watching a kid swing, or you're swinging on a swing, and when you come closest to the ground, you're at kind of that 0 point. In the tarot, that's the Fool card. And then you arc one way, and we can also look at it from alchemical principle as the swing of the pendulum, the law of opposites, and the law of momentum, right? And what that means. So that kinetic energy, we're going to take a look at that. And then we have potential and kinetic energy put together are mechanical energy. So a car driving up a mountain, right? The mountain will give us, there will be a highest point representing that potential energy, but it's the kinetic energy of the car's gears and motor and everything moving that cause it to get up that mountain, right? And so we'll look at the mechanical energy. It'll be really interesting to see if the blend of the two kind of fits with the readings as well. I'm really interested to see what the cards will show us. And then we're going to get into, lastly, electromagnetic energy. And that's light energy, it's radiant energy. I'm interested in looking at that from the perspective of our physical bodies, because I think that's part of what people unlock when they're unlocking manifestation for themselves. There's something that actually physically shifts and they are emanating. So, let's say I'm working on releasing a certain belief about lack, about there not being enough, right? And I successfully release that. And then the energy that's already within me finally gets to come out, and then it's like, oh wow, there's that. And then the things that can magnetize to me that I've been desiring, right, that law of attraction, it can see, it's like it will expand into where it needs to. So I'm really, it's fascinating, isn't it? Ashley says you're mixing all my favorite things. Yeah, it's really interesting to look at things from these different perspectives and not only hold, the spiritual, but also hold the physical world and the proven facts and science. My partner's a Virgo. He's constantly reminding me of that. I can get a little more airy fairy at times. And I think that's important too. I do think we need to be able to explore the spiritual realms as well, untethered. I do feel that's important for our souls, but also being able to, at the same time, hold the physical world laws and realities. I think that's where we come into balance, where we're able, and it helps us navigate the world on a marriage of those levels instead of just being in one or the other, right? Because if you're always looking for proof in every single thing, but then there's these emotions and there's these energies that are unproven, or we haven't found the way to measure them yet, you could be limiting yourself. And if you're spending all the time in the clouds, just, 5D ascension realm, floating with the unicorns, it's kind of that new age trap where you get up there and then you're not making grounded decisions, right? So we kind of need both. We need both to come into this balance point. So that's what we're going to get into. And I'm so excited. Let's get into potential energy first here. The energy of an object's position at its highest point, or the apex of its arc. And we're going to pull tarot cards today. And I'm going to do a 4-card spread. And then I'm going to grab the masculine and feminine decks and we're going to look at that. So we'll look first here at the situation. The situation is the Emperor. I'll show you the cards in a moment. The challenge is the 8 of Cups, what we need to emotionally process, walk away from. The advice is the King of Pentacles. That's nice grounded energy there, coming back to our manifestation, maybe kind of bouncing all the way into how do you hold light in your body, which would get us into electromagnetic. And then our what to do in the outcome is the 8 of Pentacles. We're working on it. We're working on it. So this, depending on your astrological blueprint here, the Emperor could affect you in different ways. If you have Aries energy, all right, if you have Aries energy in your chart, this might be a little more familiar. This is an energy of stability. It's a number 4. And I think we had that 31 in the collective reading. So I felt we were kind of moving into that stability. Or this is what we crave. Most of us want to feel like, hey, I'm safe. I'm safe and I'm stable in my life and in my energies. And that's what the Emperor can bring for us here. Karen says, remember Yaz, do I dress for every situation? Yaz? Is that a band? Is that a band? Like from the 80s? I need more info. And you said you have Mars in Aries. Wait, your Mars is in Aries? Oh my. Well, that might really, you might really be familiar with this if that's the case. Yes. Doorway of the nation. Dun, 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 dun. Move out. Don't mess around. That song? Is that what you're talking about? I'm gonna have to go listen to it now. That's hilarious. I do know, yes. Bring me down. Okay. Now, if you're not a Gen Xer, you may not know that song. Go check it out. Yes. um, Karen's picking up the yes influence from this. So, when we're thinking of potential energy, for those of you who may not have as strong of Aries placements in your chart, this may be what you're striving for. All right. You're striving for, how do I get to my throne? How do I get to that arc and then maintain that energy of my highest potential for as long as possible before I have to come into other energies to learn, new situations. And there may be also this desire, and I think an intention for some of you that, okay, I'm going to start here, but I'm going to throw my ball up really high and forward, and then I'm going to take some steps. And so that when I catch that ball again, I have moved, I'm forward. So some of you may be working with different planes here, different planes of existence. Very interesting. Very interesting. You may have this happening to you without consciously thinking about it as well. The emperor would kind of have us squaring off with ourselves sometimes. And the emperor can also be what I would call like a blocking energy. It's kind of like you have to integrate your own emperor before you can kind of make it onto the next card, which is the Hierophant, which is your own spiritual authority. So there's this kind of mastery that comes into stability. And then from that place, you have a really nice, because this is about a nice solid foundation, the cornerstones, a nice square, a nice platform for you to launch from. Right. And so that is what's going on. That's our situation. Now, what might be challenging us to have that kind of movement or have that kind of Aries energy? Aries is able to kind of bulldoze energetically, it moves through obstacles. I know I said in the beginning reading we could go up and over, we can find other creative ways around, but the Aries energy will bust right through. And I think some of you are looking for that breakthrough. The potential is there. Oh my gosh, it's like so huge. That arc is like going to go really high. But what's got to be released? Why is it so hard to do that? And I think the first thing I'm sensing in this card is that, well, there's emotions that we need to process here. This is the 8 of Cups. This is maybe even a sense of emotional completion for some of you, where there have been a lot of focus on a sad situation or a challenging situation. We kind of have the moon in the background of the sky there, something that's taken a lot of your energy. And it may be time to say, you know what, look how much emotional energy I have put into a certain person, a certain situation. It's time for me to go find my own trail now. It's time for me to go find my own trail because this is affecting my potential energy, and it's time to let go. It's time to walk away. But what's nice about what I see in this 8 of Cups in the forefront is that those 8 cups are left upright in a certain pattern. And for the next person that comes by, they might gain something from that. The other thing here in the challenge is, maybe feeling like I don't want to go find my own trail because that means I leave this person, these feelings, behind. But to some degree, you'll always carry them with you. It may be knowing that there'll be a part of you that's always going to be connected to the situation, but the situation is at the point where it's so challenging, it's affecting your potential energy and your movement on your own path. And so some of these emotions we're leaving behind, or we leave them behind by processing them. This isn't an ignoring. If you ignore, in fact, this could be a warning about the challenge. If you ignore these, that could be a problem. That could be problematic. But also processing those, or getting to a place where you're like, I'm just going to shift my focus. There's room for these. I'll come back to these when I add my own cup to the equation. That will be the 9 of cups, and then eventually the 10 of cups. So some of you just may need a little bit of a diverted path right now to come back around. And Karen says, feels like sink cost fallacy comes into play here. How much invested we were in something that we need to be leave behind, a sunk cost. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely connected though to emotional resources. That's the challenge. There's emotions connected there, and it might take a little bit of fine tuning for us to do that. Now, your trail may lead you back around. Like I said, it's like the figure is where that 9th cup should be. And so when it comes to potential energy, we're being encouraged to take our own unique path to find that 9th cup for ourselves. Now, whatever this refers to, is it children? Is it a partner? Is it a job we love that we got laid off from? I don't know. It's going to be different for everybody, the specifics, but it's how you emotionally feel and how you're able to process those emotions. Yeah. Now, the advice here is the King of Pentacles. Now, this is so cool because we have 2 figures of stability here. We have the one connected to the Aries energy, which is it's gonna of Pentacles here feels to me more like the arc of the potential. And what's nice about the King of Pentacles is that he is an earth sign energy. So we are talking about Capricorn, we're talking about Virgo, and we're talking about Taurus in these energies. So, when it comes to advice, the areas of our personal astrology blueprints we should be looking at are the earth sign energies to help us and assist us. For example, my moon and my Mars are in Taurus. So I have to be really real with myself that it's time to go get my 9th cup, right? And I have to convince my stubborn Taurus energies that it's time to take the next trail, right? Now you will have to see in your own blueprint how it might work for you. But what's nice here is the connecting energy between the Emperor and the King of Pentacles is stability. I think sometimes we might be afraid to leave some of the emotional energies behind because of fear of, well, I'm going to kick things up. This is going to stir things up. Things won't be as stable. But the King of Pentacles comes in and says, no, it's going to be okay. Actually, things that you need will start coming to you when you clear out this emotional energy. And it's kind of an example of healing, like a partnership or a friendship that has ended from the past, or resolving some mother or father issues from a mother or father who has passed, and letting go and finding your own path there, and coming into your own sense of abundance, where you feel like that potential hits its highest point. And I think this is really auspicious for us because it is a card of mastery. It's a mastery of the pentacles, it's a mastery of the earth energies and the physical realm. So I'm really liking that vibe there. I think some of us recognize we have very, very high potential. We also may see that in others. But should we emotionally invest in others' potential energy? No, 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 no. We should only invest in our own, working with our own, because many, many times, especially empathic people, will look to others and emotionally invest in someone else's potential energy who is not on the path to their own potential. So we're saying you come into your very own masterful energies here with the King of Pentacles, and this will be the place that helps you. Now, if you don't feel like you're in that place, you're like, but I need a new car. I need to be able to make the next electricity payment. I need to get this procedure done or that, right? And you're like, where is all of this? That's the challenge that you have here, because the emotions are connected to that fear and panic. And the King of Pentacles says, but wait a minute, you need to be able to at least imagine yourself in these energies. You don't have to have it all figured out yet. If you can get in connection, and this is where the epigenetics comes in, with what would it look like and feel like to you personally if you had a mastery in the physical world. That would be maybe being done with a car payment. Maybe that would be getting a car. Maybe that would be finding a better place to live, being able to purchase a home, find a new roommate, whatever your situation may be, right? Your unique situation. What is the arc? What is the potential energy there? And if you don't feel like you're sitting in this seat yet, that's okay. Because remember, this is the advice. We want to use the power of our mind to begin to bridge the gap between the subconscious and conscious realms. And we want to be able to see ourselves in that energy. And then we can get to work with moving forward toward that. And this is the outcome, or this is what to do. Now, each of you will put your own unique signature on what you're creating and building. Each of you will leave the mark of something unique. That's what this card is about. When I look at this card, sometimes I think about an artist signing their final painting, the one of the kind, right? This is putting your own unique touch on things. Tressa's here. Hi, Tressa. Glad you could make it for a little bit. So, when it comes to potential energy, yeah, we're going to have to do something to reach the height of that arc. To reach our potential, we're going to have to go through the work. And that's what the Eight of Pentacles shows us here. But 8 is a number of abundance, and it goes along really nicely with this King of Pentacles here. So nobody's saying there won't be work involved. Nobody's saying there won't be action that needs to be taken. But to clear your path, you want to work on releasing those emotional energies. So let's get a masculine and a feminine bit of advice here. These bags smell good. I must have put some oils on them or something at one point. Okay, so let's get a divine masculine, journey to the divine masculine, to see if the masculine energies have any final advice for our potential energy here. And then we're going to do the same with the feminine deck here, journey to the divine feminine. I love, these are massive decks, y'all, and they have so many cards in them. It's so fascinating to use these. Ooh, and the feminine and masculine, as they like to do, are showing us a couple of different things. So when it comes to our potential energy, I see the masculine showing us reconciliation. And since I'm on a mobile live, this may show backwards to you, but this is the energy of reconciliation. This could mean coming back into a balance in your own personal energies, your positive and negative charge. When you do walk away to find your ninth cup in the future, the masculine is saying, listen, if it's meant to reconcile, if it's meant to come back around, it will. The energy is here for that. The masculine is letting us know. The feminine energies, however, are saying it's a bit chaotic. It's a bit chaotic right now. I feel like my whole life is chaos. And that would make it a little bit hard to try to pivot and walk away from the emotional energy. So, what some of us may be experiencing in reaching our potentials is how we feel. The feminine energies are a bit chaotic, the emotional energies are a bit chaotic, the vibrational field in the feminine is a bit chaotic right now. But I really like this card because in the chaos, she kind of has, it almost looks like there's all this energy zapping all around. And with the other cards that we got here, these more masculine energies of the king and the emperor, And I'm starting to get like this big, like feeling in my ears, like the pressure is changing. And I think that's representing us kind of leaning into those masculine energies and taking some sort of action. A lot of clearing on the feminine energies here, though. Reconciling the chaos. Okay. Yeah, that's another good point. Thank you, Karen. Water, water. My feminine energies are feeling the chaos. So, what I'm kind of sensing here, because you said I relate to trying to reconcile the chaos. So, you know how when we talk about magic, you all may have heard of like chaos magicians, right? Just people who utilize the energies to try to sow the seeds of chaos. But there's also the antithesis of that, right? The reconciliation. There's other people whose magic is to pull things back together again from the chaos. It's organization through the disorganization. All right. And so I think that some of you listening have this potential, since we're dealing with potential energy. And maybe it's just a matter of unlocking it by allowing yourself to change your path and change your focus slightly. You've been given reassurance that your things will come back around. But for now, this is the important aspect of the potential energy is reconciling all of the different chaos. Reconciliation, Karen says transmutation. Yes, transmuting would be another wonderful word to use for that. Wow. Okay. All right. Potential energy. And I think that reading was pretty clear. It's us dealing with our own potential energy, right? I know sometimes way easier to see someone else's potential, and we can lose sight of the focus of our own potential, because our own potential is what we have control over. It's also what we're responsible for. And it's also what we'll have to do the hard work to clear out the energies to be able to achieve it. So we cannot bypass there. We do sometimes, but ultimately, to reach your full potential, the focus will have to be on your potential and the highest point of your arc, not someone else's. All right, let's get into the kinetic energy. Okay, so this is the energy of a body's motion, like a swinging person on a swing. Karen says, I just started learning watercolor. It's a very chaotic medium. Yes. In fact, I took my kids to creatarium here that we have locally, and the lady that runs that very, very right brained and very open, and not a lot of structure, and they used watercolor to paint, and it's just interesting to watch a child follow very loose instructions about what the assignment was, and it was like a field, spring flowers and stuff like that, and find what they came up with. And so I wish I had my kids' pictures here. My daughter kind of did kind of like a little house on the prairie kind of scene. She didn't put a house, but she had like the field of flowers there in the sunshine. And my son drew Venus flytraps and a portal to the dark dimension and some sort of Minecraft stuff. And there was a lot of black in it. And I was like, wow, we're getting a little Doctor Strange here. So it's just wild. But yeah, watercolor can take so many different, and just it has to be the right amount of water in your brush a certain way. And if it touches another color, then some other color is formed, and it's wild. So interesting that watercolors came up. Some of you might like to work with that. I know I probably should. I should probably sit down and play with it a bit. All right, let's look at this kinetic energy here. I think I've shuffled enough. Let's get our 4-card spread. The Knight of Swords. Yes, we want to move. The challenge is the Two of Wands. Something keeps putting us back in planning mode. The advice, it's right in there. The Page of Pentacles. Slow down, get curious. And the potential outcome, the Three of Swords. Ooh, are some of us scared of getting hurt? Is that preventing some of you from the movement? Are you afraid of getting hurt? Are you afraid of failing? The Three of Swords. That's what to do, the potential outcome. You've got to face the pain. Okay, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's back up to the beginning. The kinetic energy feels totally different to the potential energy. Okay, so the kinetic energy starts us off like, hey, this is how we want to be moving. Let's go get them. Okay, we're going to get off this live today and we are going to charge forward and we are going to ride the horse as fast as we can into the battleground. Screw it. I don't care how many people are on the other side of this. Like, I am going to war. Let's do it. Let's move. Let's go. Lightning speed ahead, right? Now, there's no stopping this kind of energy. This is the energy that is moved way beyond 0 point. This could represent the energy of getting a little ahead of yourself. Karen says planning mode. Maybe, yes, maybe I need to lighten up. So we don't want to overextend ourselves. We don't want to push ourselves too hard or charge forward with maybe not understanding the entire playing field. Okay, so this is a bit of spontaneous energy here. It's an air related energy. We've got the Aquarius, Libra, Gemini kind of energy coming through. It does feel very Gemini to me, the most out of all those three signs. So you might want to look. I know I have my Mercury is in Gemini, so this makes me, in this community of creators, we tend to be the forward thinkers. And we know we're creating our reality by what we're creating in our mind, right? And we tend to be those forward thinkers, and can be really difficult when the world says, the challenge says, I'm not ready. And maybe you yourself are ready. Maybe you yourself are ready, but the world isn't ready. These are like people who are ahead of their time. Some of you could really relate to feeling like, I'm out of place here. I'm ahead of my time because I can see what's possible. But if you get ahead of that energy, or if you get anxious, anxiety could come in here and you get ahead of yourself, then the challenge for you may be, let's slow it down. We don't even have to take a step back, but let's pause for a moment. Let's let the horse get a drink of water. Let's let it rest. Let's get some food and water here, and let's really take a look at the landscape here. Could it be that in order to use the most of our momentum, we also want to be attentive that we're doing that in a balanced way with this Two of Wands? Wands energy is fire. It's still momentum, but it's a momentum with planning, and maybe it's seeing planning as momentum as well. It could be, I'm also getting a planting the seeds kind of feeling here. Some of you are planting the seeds, and maybe your movements haven't been as bold yet as you want them to, but you're planting the seeds. This would be also kind of representing to me maybe the struggle of us kind of being in the retrograde shadows. We're going to be coming out of it more and more, and it's going to be more and more loosened up until about September when we go through eclipses. But this is challenging to be in this planning phase. Some of you may feel like, oh, I'm gonna be in this a long time, but it's also showing us importance. And the Page of Pentacles comes in here as advice and says, listen, for your momentum, not all momentum has to be the speed of light, right? you may miss things if you go too fast. There's value to taking time to look at things, look at the landscape, plan a little bit more. Understand that the world, you still have the world in your hands here. You're still that forward thinker, but maybe there's a thought that needs to kind of slow down so that you can somehow anchor it. Because now we're talking about earth energies with the pentacles. You can begin to envision that one thought. For some of you, this could include niching down, more specifically, or just picking one thing to focus on rather than trying to focus on multiple things at once or multitask. There are some blueprints who can multitask, but multitasking for most is it leads to that chaos. It leads to stress. I'm not saying everybody can't do it. There are people who can multitask well, but then that's not always the best way, right? It can be in certain situations. I'll not put an absolute on it, but this particular reading, this advice is slow it down and take a look at one particular thing. Maybe part of it is during the planning phase, you're kind of also prioritizing. So I get prioritizing with that planning, and then take your top pentacle there and prioritize a focus on that with as much time as you have available to you. Now, what's really interesting is that this pain card comes up in the what to do and the outcome. And I do think there is fear there of facing certain pain, because when we get into the energies of what we're trying to create, but we're slowed down, that can represent a pain, right? Of actually, maybe there's something that I need to heal before I will have the kind of momentum that I'm looking for. And if I keep doing this mentally in my mind, I'm going to miss something important. This is where I pause and I reconnect and I get curious here. So, this is really interesting. I think that one way or another, what I'm getting for this kinetic energy, the energy of a body's motion, is that at some point in our journey with this, with our momentum, we're going to hit up against the pain. And so the suggestion here, what to do about it, is to begin work on healing this. So the Four of Swords, which is the card after this, would be the card of healing. But first, these swords need to be removed. So that is the direction that the universe is giving us. Let's remove some of those swords. Now, maybe some of these swords represent just the extra thoughts that make it really difficult for you to focus on the one thing. Maybe it's extra responsibilities. We need to maybe remove some things from the calendar, remove some of the busyness, or remove certain thought forms that we know are sabotaging us. There's a little bit of a sense of self sabotage here at times, and that may be something that needs to be healed. So we pull the swords out, and then we rest and we put the salve on the heart and we reconnect into those heart energies and we allow that to heal. So that looks like where we're moving here. It's easy for me to say here, healing is always part of the journey, but when it comes, and it is, but when it comes to that kinetic energy and wanting to make moves, it can get really frustrating to slow down and deal with what has to be dealt with. But that's what the universe is saying. So maybe as we finish these final phases of the retrograde energies, we're being invited to heal a little bit, to niche down, focus in on something more specific so that we can actually accomplish something. Or even for some of us, I think it's about maybe speeding up your healing process a little with something. Speeding up the healing process. That seems to be Very important. Yes, it's not linear, is it? Trust, a good point. It's never a clear cut thing, right? We have to zigzag, or it's going on a curve and we can't always see exactly. Niching is a current theme. Tell me about it. Tarot is a niche, yet there's so much tarot out there, especially on YouTube. It's like, how could I niche down even further, right? And so it really is like a challenge to get super creative, right? All right, we're going to get the masculine and feminine energies here. Kimberly says, interesting about speeding up the healing process instead of slowing down to be intentional. Yeah, I think there is the slowdown to see the big picture, but it's also figuring out what may help in your healing process. So maybe you're throwing a lot of things at your healing process. Like maybe you're doing a supplement and a breath work and a this and a that. Maybe there's one thing to get really consistent with first, and then get into the other stuff so that it will speed up your process. Sometimes it's unwinding it like that, right? So it could be that. I think either way, this reading feels challenging, but you also didn't come here to do nothing and sit on the sidelines. I know none of you did. All right, just a reminder before I show the masculine and feminine cards, be sure to put a like on this video today if you haven't already. Smash that like button, as we YouTubers say. Okay, let's get into the masculine energies and what they're reminding us here. Whew, I swear, like, I don't know what these energies are trying to bring in, but we'll work through it here. We've got the masculine bringing up abandonment, feeling left out, having codependency, or fears being left. Yes. Okay. And I've been in this energy recently, even with just like growth on YouTube. Like, oh, if I'd have gotten in and done this like right before the pandemic, I would have been able to like, go like this. But now I'm here starting in 2024. So I'm left behind because blah, blah, blah. And then it goes on and spirals out of control, right? So maybe think about the ways here that you feel like the world has left you behind, or when you get in that energy, right, that it feels not good, right? And that may be one of the swords that needs to be pulled out here. How you feel abandoned, left behind. Some of you also dealing with very personal issues of abandonment from a person or a past relationship, or mother and father issues here. This is coming in on the masculine, could be connected to a father issue for some of you here. Someone is supposed to, or something is supposed to be in this spot right here, but there's only the one character here left all alone. Maybe it feels that way in your career or business. Like, well, there's already all these other people doing it. So what am I doing? Does anybody care? Is anybody watching? And anytime you're putting yourself out there, you're going to go through those challenges in your own mind about it, right? You're going to be vetting out those fears. And the feminine energies give us romance. Now, before anyone freaks out and thinks like, oh, it's about my partner or anybody else. No, I really get this is more of the energy of romance in your life, okay? And you don't have to be in a partnership to have romance. For some of us, this might be taking ourselves on a date. Even if we're in a relationship, we might take ourselves on a date. We might need to, I think Teresa shared this the other day, go to our favorite coffee shop. And that's our little treat to ourselves. We're making something we're doing feel more romantic, falling in love with the aspect that we're focusing on, falling in love with that part of ourselves that needs to be healed and loving it back to life again, right? And so this is coming in. The feminine energies are saying, add a little romance in here. And that's going to help with this motion from the kinetic energies. That's going to help move things along. That's going to help get things going. Okay. It's a little romance. I like that because when we feel and we get in these energies of it's just me versus the world. Oh, I'm left out, or because of this, that, the other, or I was left behind by this person or my family, or I was let down, right? I was abandoned. That is a really powerful fear. And it is something that'll come up on minor levels and on major levels throughout our life. But the masculine energy is showing up here saying this plays a part in the momentum, in the motion that we're seeking here. So you don't want to miss a piece of this here. This is going to be tricky. This actually feels tricky to me. Like navigating these energies is an advanced level. So welcome. You are advanced. Like it or not, because you're listening to this reading, you are in the doctoral program here of energy. So this is an advanced lifetime for you where the challenges, the dissertations, the learnings, the opportunities are all going to be advanced and tough. And so let's acknowledge that, but let's also know that our soul came here with a purpose and a mission, and it can be accomplished because on some level, there's part of our greater being that already knows it can. And this is our journey to get in touch with that and expand into those places within ourselves to get the momentum. Yep. Open your arms really wide, get a little heart space, stick them out there, get your heart stuck out. Oh, yeah. Just, whew, let it all in. Bring it, bring it, bring it. All right, let's get into this mechanical energy. I hope nobody hit the timestamp and saw me going like this. This is going to be kind of funny, but oh well. We like to have fun here. Okay, so the mechanical energy now is the combination of the potential energy that we've discussed and the kinetic energy that we've discussed. So the example is like a car in motion, but going up a mountain to that peak of potential. And this is what Creators on the Crest, this is why I named it that. A crest is the top, it's the peak, it's the potential, it's us going on a journey to become the highest versions of ourselves. That's why I've named my business Creators on the Crest, right? The crest of a wave, the crest of a mountain, the pinnacle, the top. It's that's our journey we're on. And sometimes we're in the shadow of the mountain and sometimes we're in the sun. But either way, we are evolving, and that is what we're going for. So let's see what the universe has to tell us. We get the Ace of Swords in our situation. Lots of good clarity comes from the marriage of the potential and the kinetic energies. And the challenge is finding joy with the Sun card here. We got the Ace of Swords, the Sun, and the advice is the Three of Wands. Man, what's going on? Whew, that was a loud echo when I hit the cards like that. Oh my gosh. And what to do and the outcome, the Five of Swords. Really interesting here because when I do reads where I'm getting the outcome, you always want to see like the best card there. Like, let's put the Sun there. Hello, Faith. Welcome. We're doing a reading on mechanical energy here. But, when we're talking about the potential and the kinetic energy coming together, and we're using the example of a car going up a mountain or ourselves, think about hiking up a mountain with a challenging trail, right? We start out and we've got this determination with this Ace of Swords. We've got this like, I am clear, that I want to climb this particular mountain, that this is the peak. When surfers surf, this is them knowing this is the wave, the crest of the wave that I am going to catch. This is a lot of determination, and it's all clear up here. All right. So I actually like that for this mechanical energy, there is the clarity coming in for us. This also represents intelligence in our communications. For some, this could be with the ace initiating a very important communication of some kind. So, you've maybe considered the potential. Maybe you've written a rough draft of something, but this is bringing it all together and submitting the final copy. That would be what's going on here for some of you, right? And I'm using it, could be actual or metaphorical. Maybe some of you are writing a book. I don't know, or writing something important, communicating something important. Could be something you're orating as well. You're verbally sharing a story of some kind. The challenge, finding joy. And even though there's like this really like tough trail that we're trying to hike up, and maybe we're like worried we're going to run out of water, and maybe we're don't want to like trip on a big tree root or something and fall down and get an injury, right? There's challenges here to enjoying the entire process, even when there are setbacks, even when the doubts arise. And that is a tricky line to catch there, is knowing like, wow, I'm learning something even when maybe I have to alter my path because there might be a black bear going up the path I originally chose, and we really don't want to have that encounter, right? This could mean pivoting for some of you. This could mean pivoting. I do feel that in this energy, but it's pivoting toward the joy, whether it's the joy in the experience itself. It's those times where you're cruising and you hit a plateau and you get to rest on a rock and everything looks beautiful, or you catch that wave and you're riding that, you're riding in the tunnel, and it's really great experience, right? It's really embracing that part of it as well. There's so much adrenaline though here that I feel. There's so much like amped up energy that sometimes we're in like a survival mode, right? And so it can be a little tough to find the joy. And if the path is more challenging, what are the joys that we can find in the lessons that we're encountering? What are they opening us up to? What has our fragile vulnerability, as the little cherub here on that white horse, that innocence, how have we grown from having that challenged, right? How have we grown from our healing process to date? I think sometimes we're so focused on what we still need to do. Like, I still have 3 miles to go up this mountain, but I just did a really tough mile, and I might not be acknowledging that. Like, wow, you did a whole mile up the mountain, or you stayed on your surfboard for like 10 seconds, right? Whatever it is, right? Just using examples. We forget to credit ourselves and celebrate and be happy about what we have accomplished here. And that sometimes, if we brush it off or forget about it, we might be missing a little bit of that. And I think that's what this Three of Wands is. We might be missing a little of that golden juice that we're meant to take with us on the next leg of our journey, right? Got a lot of yellow and golden coming in this card here, a lot of solar plexus energy coming in. Now, unlike the last reading where we had that Two of Wands, which was really trying to maybe even find something that we overlooked, we have a third wand here. So maybe we have found now with this, in this mechanical energy of us, like, okay, now we've got the potential, we've got the momentum, But what do I do with this third wand? How do I utilize it to the best of my advantage? How do I put forth my passion? Because wands is fire. It's about passion. It's about, that transformative kind of energy. So, how do I transform my experience with this third wand that I'm now holding on to? I've got the two wands. I've stepped through the portal. I've got this new wand, this new walking stick, right? How do I utilize that? How do I utilize that? And so that is what the universe wants each of us to figure out, because this is the advice here. You have to make a decision. You have to figure out how to use that third wand, because that's what's going to carry you to the top of the mountain. You don't have to worry about the fourth one, the fifth one, the sixth one, because I feel some from like that kinetic energy, that Knight of Swords. And then what, remember, you've already connected with the arc in the potential energies. You've already done the epigenetics. You've already visualized yourself there. But you need to do the third one, then you can do the fourth one, then you can do the fifth. And those have you seen those people do the climbing? I'm feeling like rock climbers too, or those people where they do the ice picks and then they have to do one and get it in and then the next one, or like pegs. You see them in those like ninja where they have to take the pegs and move the pegs up in the holes and pull themselves up. It's that kind of thing. You can't be thinking about the 20th peg hole from where you're at. You have to just one at a time, right? One at a time. Next, now the next, now the next. And that's the kind of energy that the universe would like us to look at here when it comes to actually being in movement. So, like it's kind of like roller skating. I when I notice my kids learning how to roller skate, I know Karen's teaching her kids to swim. I kind of with roller skating, if you're not paying attention to the path right ahead of you, you're too busy looking at what your friends are doing over there, you're going to fall down, right? So, kind of just focusing on that next part of your path, one skate in front of the other skate in front of the other, one stroke and then the next stroke. And guess what? Your arm, even if you're doing like, what's it called? The freestyle, you have your head in the water, you take too much time looking up, you start doggy paddling, right? So it's get that head down. Your arm will reach out and grab the side when you get there, right? And your body will begin to sense that. Now, what's really interesting here in what to do in our outcome here is the Five of Swords. And this is an energy of what to do when you feel conflicted, holding on to too much mental noise. Notice in this Five of Swords, the character has two swords in one hand, another sword in another hand, two more swords are fallen nearby. The Four of Swords comes, or I'm sorry, the Five of Swords comes after the Four of Swords, which is our healing. We have to determine here what to do here with this energy. Is we have to determine what thoughts we're going to take with us and what is truly being let go, because we came in with a lot of determination and clarity. And if we do have a part of our path where we're not giving ourselves enough credit, we get down on ourselves, we're not celebrating enough, we're thinking too far ahead, it can bring clouds into our sky. It can feel disruptive. And so, with this reading in the mechanical energy, this is where the car breaks down. You get a flat tire, you have to change the tire. How are you going to think about it? Are you going to carry the thoughts of defeat and agony, like the wide world of sports, agony and defeat and the drama? Are you going to say, wait, I'm going to take my determination and my tenacity? I'll bring those with me. I'll bring the way I think about this from that perspective with me. Now I'm deciding on what this other sword is here. So I think this is using some discernment. This Five of Swords, the universe is saying, hey, use some discernment here. And others of you, I really feel like if it's not about using discernment, it's about recognizing how your discernment has served you. Maybe you did see a rattlesnake in the path and you were able to go up and over on some rocks on the trail and get around the danger, right? Kind of that wisdom of the hermit card energy that we get sometimes. So for some of you, that's what it's about. Very interesting. Let's get the masculine energy perspective on this and the feminine energy perspective on this. Wow. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I just love how the masculine and feminine kind of put the final touches. The feminine popped right out. Masculine energy says this, when it comes to a mechanical energy and moving up the mountain. So we're moving. We're going to encounter trust issues, afraid to be hurt, afraid to get bit by the rattlesnake, afraid to catch your toe on a root. Doesn't trust themselves. So a lack of self-trust, right? Find ways not to trust others. So you encounter some other hikers on the path and feel too bad to ask for help or for an extra bottle of water, and insecurities here. So here we are, we're moving up the trail, we're catching that wave. And then we're like, oh my gosh, is my surf buddy watching? I see a shark in the distance. I'm so afraid. Can I trust them to, notify me or whatever, right? These people are coming by. They look super prepared and I'm running out of food or water. Can I ask? Can I trust them? Can I trust myself to change the tire? Can I trust myself to figure it out? And these are the active mind energies that are going through on these masculine channels for us here with that trust. Now, the feminine is showing us, okay, we're going to give a voice to our truth, courageously speaking your truth, all right? Or the truth, or both. Maybe your truth is aligned, hopefully, with the truth, right? And it's giving a voice to that. And we're going to overcome any kind of pauses or slowdowns because of trust issues by giving a voice, trusting ourselves to communicate. Because remember, here we had this communication card with the Ace of Swords, clearly to write something clearly, to be the voice of what is true. All right. And that's, to me, is very reassuring. And it has to do with trust and truth, trusting yourself, trusting your instincts and your intuition to tell you who else you can trust, and then putting a voice to that trust as well is coming up here in the energy. And in your discussions with the universe as well, however you might, as an individual, how you communicate with the universe, how you might pray, how you might have those interactions or speaking to the creator source or the great spirit or the spirit of the mountain or the spirit of the ocean, right? There's a communication there. Ooh, that was cool. A lot of communication going on in this mechanical energy reading. A lot of our senses are engaged here, I feel, in that. All right, let's get on to our fourth reading. All right. Oops, I almost had the wrong number there. Our fourth reading is Electromagnetic Energy. So we're going to do a little 4-card pull for working with electromagnetic energy. That's going to be the radiant energy, the light energy, the heat, the light source within you, what's coming off of you, what is it calling to. For the situation, we got the 4 of Swords. There's that healing card. So now we've got the 3, the 4, and the 5 of Swords throughout these breakout readings. So that's significant. Let's get our challenge. Our situation is healing. That's nice to see because that will help us up level. Our challenge is the 10 of Wands. We're carrying too much burden. We tried to grab all those wands instead of going one peg at a time, one wand at a time. We grabbed them all. Now we can't see where we're going. The advice is the Two of Swords. We've got to open up our heart. We've got to bring clarity to the heart space, to the heart awareness, and the outcome or what to do. The Lover's card, balance, be our own best friend, be our own best partner here. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So when it comes to our radiant energy and the light energy, remember there's photons that make up everything, right? We do have tissues and a density to us, but also we are reflections. Our depth and our color and everything is a reflection of different levels of light as light bounces off different objects, right? Fascinating, scientific, amazing stuff. And it also translates into the subtle energies that we carry and that we navigate our way through in life. And so here we are, we're like, okay, we're healing. I heard you. I'm doing it. We're walking our journey, we're doing our thing, but we're healing as we go. We've got the swords pulled out of the heart from the Three of Swords. We're healing so that we can determine which swords we're going to take with us, right? In our future leg of the journey here. So we're getting that healing in. And our challenges, we tried to do too much. There's a little theme today of getting ahead of ourselves sometimes. But in this case, it's taken on too many wands. You go from the 2 to the 3 to the 10 of wands in these readings, and we've skipped the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9. All right. And so then we're like confounded. We're like totally cluttered. We're totally bogged down, right? With so many things to focus on that we cannot, through this certain perspective, see the next step. Which one of these wands was the next? I don't even remember at this point. I have taken so much on myself that I can't even see my way through it. And so, what do we usually have to do here? We usually have to drop these wands. We have to drop the burdens, maybe let them all fall to the ground, and then get a drink of water, get some food, take a rest, take a nap, and come back. And then let yourself sort out, okay, where's that next wand? And then how can I utilize that? And so that's the challenge here, and it's very real. Sometimes the conditions of our life interrupt this part of the process, and then before we know it, something else is stacked in front of us, right? And so we have to come back. We go from the 4, and we're going to kind of slide back to the 2 here. The 2, the 3, the 4, the 5 of swords. We definitely have some journeying through the energies. We had the Ace of Swords, right? We had the Ace, the 2, the 3, and we're doing this little dance up and down here, like a little xylophone, right? And the 2 of Swords, as advice, as help, it's like, wait a minute. I need to I'm going to drop those wands that were so heavy. I'm going to remain blindfolded because I would like to begin to recognize the energy going on in my heart space. And I'm going to let my heart answer the question. I'm going to let my heart guide me to the right wand to pick up next. I'm going to, in some cases, go back and check, is there something still in there that I missed? Something that still needs a little bit of healing or a little bit of salve. It's sometimes this energy to me feels like you've recovered. Let's say you've recovered from an injury of some kind. Maybe you bruised your shin or you broke an arm or whatever it is, right? And you get the cast off or the healing takes place, and then you try your first exercise again. And you're like, ooh, I can't go right into it the way I thought I could from before. I can't go that fast into it. So let me really listen to my heart. Let me love myself, because remember, we have the Lovers card coming up here. Let me love myself through gently easing myself back in after this wounding, or after this thing is being healed. And it's a matter of the heart. And this really feels like the universe saying, try to do your best to block out the mental distractions and bring it into your heart. Now, I also get, for some people, when it comes to your beautiful, light, radiant energy, I think at times that has been so attractive and attracted so many to you that then you may pick up their burdens. There's maybe a boundary issue for some of you. Could be family members. You're trying to, this could be representing you carrying uh, the full brunt of a generational curse or pattern that needs to be healed. And because no one else in the family is doing anything, it's like all in your court. And this is a situation. This is a real situation. Some of you are holding the burden of generations of issues from the past. So that is also coming in here. But we have to come back to you as an individual. We have to make sure your heart is in a good space, and that some of that other noise is quieted, so that you can hear, first and foremost, the beating of your heart and the volume of the heart's voice above all the rest of the noise. And so that's a lot. But we're also talking about the light and the radiant energy, and what is going to attract to you what you desire. So it's important. And I really do like this outcome here with the Lovers here. This would represent a balance that you are finding in yourself between your yin, your yang, your masculine, your feminine, the active energies and the more receptive energies. So we have a beautiful, brilliant sun here behind the angel, which represents kind of that higher spiritual plane and that journey. And we have the vulnerability of the man and the woman, or those positive and negative charges coming into a balanced perspective. And it feels good. It feels good. So it could be that the best thing to do here is do a little something loving for yourself or someone around you that's receptive to it. Okay, not anyone who's ignoring the generational curses, just leaving it all for you to clear. Don't be putting that into them. You've got to put this into yourself first. And then, like, I'm thinking like it's like taking your dog on a walk. You and your dog go enjoy a walk, something that reciprocates the love back to you, right? Something or someone, some sort of loving energy is being called forth out of this. And that's a very attractive energy. Now, maybe some of you are trying to attract, maybe now, maybe later, a partner. Maybe some of you are just yearning for that better balance in your life with a partner, with a current partner. And this could also represent, friendships, or just people that have been steadfast with you on your journey throughout your life. Embracing that. It does come with a sense of gratitude as I'm tuning into those energies. Let's look at the masculine and the feminine here. Masculine showing up again. This is such a huge deck, y'all. And this masculine card that I just pulled, I've pulled so many times. This is a thing. This is a thing here. And I don't know if it's because the moon is in Cancer, but you'll see. Boundaries. The masculine energy comes in with boundaries. So to protect your light, your radiant nature, not everyone can have access to it. If they're going to misuse or manipulate your time, your energy, your money, gosh, how many people knowingly or unknowingly get scammed because they give their time, their energy, money to others. This is about boundaries, self-care for you. Listening to the voice of your heart here has to be the priority. And if that means that you need to get off social media for a while, there's maybe somebody you need to snooze or block, something that stresses you out, then you need to do that. Whatever's interfering with your ability to hear that. This is masculine energy saying it's okay to be direct. If you need to be direct, be direct. You don't know, I will not carry your wand for you. You need to carry your own wand. You need to be able to state your limits and tune into your own feelings. Self-awareness. These are boundaries. No. No, no, no. You shall not cross, because that dims my light. Boundaries at work, boundaries with your pay and what you're worth and your value. The feminine energies here basically are saying if someone cannot respect, if someone or some workplace or something isn't in alignment and can't respect your boundaries, separation. Separation from, maybe it's putting some family members on snooze for a little while. Maybe it's just asking people, hey, right now I'm going through something. Don't call me, I'll call you, and letting that be okay. The people who get it will give you the space. They will let you have this time to reconnect with your heart. And if you can't do that, then we'll take a separation here. You know, this could mean literal separation, but it could also just mean separation for a time, putting somebody on snooze. I think all the social media stuff, you can snooze, you can unfollow, you can do the things, right? And you can also step away when you need to, so you can really get clear on the voice of your own heart. Maybe you don't want to go to the family event and see that uncle or aunt of yours who's constantly, like, maybe you have a boundary there because your tendency to put this all on yourself. Or maybe it's not even your tendency, it's just what's happened because no one else is taking up their part, right? And so some of you have that pressure just staying there all the time, and some separation is needed. And since we're talking about electromagnetic energy, if you're really feeling stuck, or you're feeling like the money's not coming in, the respect isn't coming in, the equal give and take, the partnership is not coming in like I want it to, then you've got to protect your own radiant light energy first. And this would be the reminder that, listen, you spend your time healing. This is what you need to do. And in the meantime, drop these wands. And if someone else doesn't like it, that's okay. That's okay. They can go on and deal with themselves for a while, right? So there we are. Wow, really, really powerful energies came up today in these readings, but we are at the end, my lovely creator friends. Don't forget that on Sunday night is the live Q&A, where if you want to come on and get a personal reading Sunday night, May the 4th be with you, 7 to 8 p.m. on this channel, you can come on and get a free reading from me. You drop your personal question in the live chat and you get an answer. And it's going to be a ton of fun. It's a power-packed hour, a really high vibe community. I would love to see you all there. Okay. So be sure to remember, May the 4th be with you, 7 to 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. I'll be back next Friday as well for Frequency Friday. And I'll have to see. I mean, I kind of liked this time, but I kind of like my original time too. And I think different things work for different people. So maybe we'll switch it up from week to week and just kind of blend in some different times, and maybe not be so strict around it has to be this time or that time, right? Make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications. The final May reading is coming out also Sunday. So I think they're we took a break today. I think we've got Pisces and Aries coming out. So if you're looking for those May readings, they are on the way. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of the creators community. You are such a blessing to me, and I so enjoy coming on and being live with you and interacting in this community. I hope you all have an amazing weekend, day, evening, whenever you see this. The live replay will be available with timestamps here shortly. So do take care, creators. I love you, and I'll see you next time.